Well, good morning. This is it. This is the place that I spend lots of time. In this room, in this chair. Sometimes the chair is different. So I thought I'd come to you this morning just with nothing fancy, no music, no special effects, no cutaways. It's just me this morning in this room. And I'm usually here every morning, somewhere between 1 and 3 hours, reading, praying, thinking, meditating. And recently I read a verse, and I have my iPad and my notebook, my journal. I like to kind of keep some notes. And it's a mess, but nonetheless, you can find some nuggets of gold in my journals as you go through. And I read this verse in Luke chapter 11. It called my attention, verse 35. Luke 11:35, it says, "Then watch out that the light in you is not darkness." So I read back a few verses, back up to verse 29, and it says this. It says, Jesus was talking to the crowds, and they were increasing, and he began to say, "This generation is a wicked generation. It seeks a sign, and yet no sign will be given it except the sign of Jonah." He says, "For just as Jonah became a sign to the Ninevites, so the Son of Man will be to this generation." And then he talks about the Queen of Sheba will rise up with men in this generation at the judgment and condemn them, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, yet something greater than Solomon is here. And the men of Nineveh will stand up with this generation at judgment, condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and behold, something greater than Jonah is here. So it's kind of a story of contrast. It's interesting because Jonah got a word from God. He said, "Go talk to the people of Nineveh. Go talk to those people." And that was about 500 miles in this direction. And where did Saul go? Not Saul. See, I'm not even editing this stuff. Where did Jonah go? Jonah went to Tarshish, which is about 2,000 miles in the opposite direction. Jonah was running from God. But most of you know the story about how Jonah got in a boat and a great storm came. The people threw him over. The fish swallowed him. 3 days later, spit him up on land. And Jonah went to the Ninevites and preached, and they repented. Now, Jonah didn't want to do the will of God. He didn't want to go to Nineveh. He didn't want to do what God wanted him to do, but God got his attention. So a caveat here is you cannot run from God. It does not work. In fact, I listened to a message this morning from Charles Swindoll about Jonah. Great message. I'm going to put a link in the comments below to that message, and you can listen to it. So he didn't even want to do the will of God, but he did it anyway. He honored and obeyed God even though he didn't want to. And then the contrast is this Queen of Sheba. She sought after wisdom. And she honored and obeyed God and went after this wisdom because she wanted to. And I'm sitting here thinking, sometimes in our life we don't want to honor and obey God. But that doesn't give us an excuse not to. We still need to do it like Jonah did. And there are other times we seek after him and we want to honor and obey him. And we get frustrated maybe, and it's hard. But we keep honoring and obeying him. This goes on. It says, "No one lighting a lamp puts it in a cellar or under a bushel, but on a lampstand, so that those who enter may see." When God lights the lamp of our life, we can try to hide it, but he's going to find us under the bushel and take it off and put us up on a pedestal so that we can help others see. And then this verse in 34, right before the one that got my attention about darkness, it says this: "The light of the body is the eye. If the eye is clear, the whole body is full of light. But if the eye is bad, the whole body is full of darkness. Now, the word clear there means simple and single. The word bad there means full of laborious things, so much to do. So the thing that bothers me and probably many people in the world is we have too much to do. In fact, I'm in a culture where I have way too many things. Too many things around my office. If you were to look around my office, you'd see piles of paper, you'd see a coffee cup, empty coffee cup, you'd see a computer, you'd see books, and just all kinds of stuff in here. And so my life is full of all this stuff, and it's so distracting, and I've got to do so much. But I've got to remember, according to this verse, I need to watch out, lest the light in me becomes darkness. And one of the ways it becomes darkness is I focus on what I've got to do instead of focusing on what God is going to do if I honor and obey Him. The simple and single thing for my entire life and everything I do, I need to always think, how can I honor and obey God right now? How can I honor and obey God right now? It's not all the things that I've got to do. I may not live more than a minute or two, but how can I honor and obey God right now? So let me encourage you this morning to be careful lest the light in you become darkness. And it can become darkness by getting distracted by everything around you and forgetting to honor and obey God right now.